Hey Connect affiliates, welcome to another course. This time we have Brad Wilden, President and COO of Switch Reward Card.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
So we're going to do a deep dive into Switch, what it is, what the products and services are. We're not going to get too detailed in this video on the products and services. I want to mainly talk about the big problem, but before we do, give us a quick 2-minute pitch of what Switch is.
You bet, and I'll give you a quick 2 minutes. So there's Switch Reward Company Dow LLC. So Switch Reward Card, the company, and that's what I'm president and COO of. That is a crypto debit card as well as a trade platform with a custodial and non-custodial wallet. And we'll get into that later. But at a high level, that is what I run with Kathy Roberts as a CEO, and we provide products for the crypto user, everyday user, or someone that's new to it and wants to get in. There's the Switch blockchain, which is ran by the distributed governance framework.
Important distinction.
Big distinction there. We do not have any control or actions or over that. But the DGF, so when you hear DGF, that's the distributed governance framework that manages and runs that, which is the node owners. And we'll obviously get into that. A lot of the Connect people have nodes, so that's the difference. So
Great.
That's high level.
Okay, so let's start way back in time.
Okay.
What's your background? Well, not too far back. What's your background, and how did that lead you to Switch?
Good question. My background is traditional banking and finance. So a long time ago, I started out in the subprime mortgage arena, which was very interesting, learned a lot there, and then transitioned into like traditional banking. I never was like a personal banker. I was always in the business and commercial banking side, which means if you were a commercial company as far as a certain size, for a long time I dealt with companies that had revenues of 20 million or more, and then certain sizes above that, and did any type of commercial lending as well as international, wiring, international foreign exchange, and help whatever a business needed to run. If they're an international company or just here in the U.S., we would help provide them with products they need to run their business as far as banking goes. So that was my most recent experience that I left before Iser. So I've been on the inside of banking to see, and I was there long enough to see.
How long?
So my career was about 20 years
Okay.
in traditional banking. So I was inside the walls of everything that you hear about. If you see it on the news, so I could see, okay, here's the problems. And honestly, banking hasn't changed for 100 years. They've added some online functionality to their products, but they really haven't changed much. So you could see like, all right, if they don't change this, then something's going to happen. So fintech is out there now, which is kind of what Switch Reward Card is a fintech. And so
Financial
technology company. Yeah, that's a good job on that.
Okay.
There's tons of acronyms in the finance world. So that was good. Good catch, Joseph. So that's my background. So traditional banking.
What problems did you see in that world?
Well, so
as it relates to what we're
yeah,
doing
good question. Number one of the biggest problems that frustrated me as a banker was to meet with a good company that was doing legal transactions, legal business, and if they were in a certain industry that was deemed high risk, it was the bank's decision to say, hey, we'll bank you or we won't. It's the same on an individual level as well. If they, if someone had some troubles in their financial past and bounced a couple checks, then they wouldn't be able to get taken care of either. The other thing is in these more developed countries, we all had the tools of financial products. In these smaller third world countries, they don't get a benefit, and it really, really hurts commerce and the ability to, move money back and forth and be able to provide services for whatever they're trading of value. So those were some, cross-border payments were always a problem. They take a long time. How quick can you send someone money was a problem. They are starting to come up with some new products. I say you haven't changed banking for 100 years, but with the tech that is out there now, there are a couple items that are addressing those, but not in the way that the world needs.
Right.
The world's becoming smaller, because of, the different products and technologies that's out there. And I don't think the banks or traditional finance is keeping up with the world or the technology.
So as we make transfers, why does it take so long?
Well, there's the clearinghouse on ACH, or there's the FedWire that's it just goes through a lot of steps in the background that no one sees. And there's also a lot of regulation, which is good. Regulation is great. And we hope to have regulation in the crypto here in the US. We're all wanting it and make it, and hope that the government makes a decision. They have made some, but outside the US, there's more regulation and more laws regarding crypto. So I think that's I guess, did I answer your question?
Yeah,
I don't know if I did or not. Okay.
So let's talk about Kathy for just a minute.
Oh yeah.
Tell us who Kathy is and kind of her background.
Kathy Roberts is the CEO of Switch Reward Card, and her background is amazing. I'm going to be high level. I wish I could go into more, but she was at Sears Roebuck when Sears, back in the 1980s. Keep in mind, this is before credit card rewards and all the things that you get now, but they had an idea that said, hey, let's give a penny back for every 99 cents that our customer spends on their credit card. So they went to the large, rails systems as far as Visa and MasterCard, and they got turned down. So they started in her group, and she was in it, the Discover card, which, we all know what that is today, and started the, hey, let's give you a penny back for every 99 cents that you pay. So she was in that group, and later was the president and COO of Discover Bank. So she has just amazing stories, and her experience in that world, in the payments industry, is amazing, and just it's fun to listen. A lot of us just like to listen to her stories, and her experience has helped us a ton in what we're doing here with Switch Reward Card.
So two very experienced people in the financial industry looking at the problems of traditional banking. What would most people be surprised about when it comes to how their money is kept and secured? What do we not know about?
So, yeah, and I love this question. And it causes a lot of the problems is fractionalized banking. So
what is that? I've heard that
yes,
term.
So what that means, and don't like quote me on these I guess calculations, but say you have $1,000 in your deposit, in your savings account. The banks can take that and make that into $100,000 in different investments. Some can be high risk investments, but if you call that $1,000 before they anticipate it being called, then, and I shouldn't use a saving deposit, but a savings account, but whatever. If you say, if I go in and take $1,000 out and you take $1,000 out, well, they've got all of these investments that have used those deposits as part of the mitigation in these investments. So if we go in and you hear, hey, there's a run on the bank.
Right.
Well, part of that problem is their money's not that liquid to get everyone their $1,000.
Right.
So they have to then sell their position in these investments at pennies on the dollar. And that's all because of the fractionalized banking. And so, in my opinion, that's a huge problem in that side. There's also the problem of, peer-to-peer transfers and then cross-border payments, which we've talked about, and the unbanked. So those four topics are things that you deal with in the banking world all the time.
Okay, so we've talked about traditional financing, a lot of the things that you've seen, a lot of the problems. Along comes DeFi. Let's break that term down. What is DeFi?
I was going to ask you, Joseph, do you know what DeFi is? Because, 10 years ago, I don't even think that, well, no, I shouldn't say 10 years ago, but maybe before crypto started, people didn't even know what that is. And I still think today people wonder, what is DeFi? Well, just the simple, what does it stand for is, and like I said, there's a lot of acronyms in banking, but it's decentralized finance. What that means is there's no one central source or one central control of transactions. And why is that important? Well, it's important because it's super hard to attack as far as fraud goes and be able to change and manipulate the data on a decentralized system. And so Traditional banking and finance, there's one centralized source that can be attacked and, try to commit fraud on that type of platform. So,
Okay. So, what is a blockchain ledger, and how is that a more secure way or a better way to work in the financial structure?
yeah, so you have a general ledger in banking, and that's just where all the transactions are kept. It's all under control and at a server data center that has all of the transactions on that one single source. So the blockchain ledger, an open source ledger, basically is open. Anyone can go out to Etherscan and see the transactions there. There's a unique individualized, alphanumeric number that says here, this person sent this amount of Bitcoin and this amount of Ethereum. So it's an open ledger, but it's using not just that, this is where it goes back into DeFi. It's not into decentralized finances. It's using everybody's, Web3 capability as far as using my computer, using your computer. It's not just at a central location.
There's no one place.
There's no one place. So if something goes down, like if a central, data center goes down, then that bank is shut down for a minute. On decentralized finance, if someone's computer goes down, there's others that are confirming the transactions out on the network. So that's the biggest. It's just that security, and then it's not just owned by one central location or thing or person.
Okay, so that's DeFi. Let's now talk about crypto. So what are tokens like Bitcoin and Ethereum? Where do they come from? What gives them utility? What are they tied to? Just talk a little bit about.
So crypto, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, the two most most popular tokens. Bitcoin obviously came from the Bitcoin blockchain, and it was miners confirming different algorithms and their computers figuring out, okay, this is it, and then they get rewarded a Bitcoin. I don't know all the ins and outs of the actual Bitcoin blockchain. Ethereum was proof of staking. I think they've recently changed, but that's basically the digital reward, I would say, by helping as a community member grow their network. And that's where the Bitcoin came from, as well as Ethereum. So
and what gives them their utility? What gives them their value?
Well, it's a good question, and it's what gives them their value is people saying that it's valuable, just like the dollar, right? The dollar's not backed by gold. Everyone thinks it's the gold standard, but the dollar is perceived as valuable because people say, yeah, it's worth this much now. And so just like crypto, people perceive it as in a peer-to-peer transaction that, or even I'm going to give you some of my Bitcoin, and then in return you'll receive some service. So it's essentially kind of similar, other than it's not controlled by one centralized source or power. It's completely, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and so you can't just go print more money when when you give everybody a bunch of money because some disease happened and we needed anyway, I won't get into that, but yeah, there's no central source controlling the crypto tokens.
Okay, so what problems did you see in DeFi that you wanted to solve with Switch?
That's a great question. We mentioned Kathy being in banking a long time ago. She's still super, super young, but even Kathy, coming into this world, as she saw this project and was convinced to come into it out of retirement, saw how Switch is going to be very effective in the DeFi world as well as the CeFi world. So Switch is using the good things of both, of the decentralized finance and the centralized finance. It's a bridge between, and bridges in this definition is just that bridge of bringing decentralized finance and centralized finance together.
So kind
in
of
the crypto
old
world,
school and the new school.
Yeah, just bringing that together. And so Switch wants to help, number one, make it easier. I talked about Kathy being advanced and more experienced in this world. And we always say, hey, we want to make this so it's easy enough that Kathy can do it. So those beginners or the new people that are like, I'd really like to get into crypto, but it's too scary. I don't. And I always talk about this story. I think you might have even heard it, but back in like 2015 or 2016, I was trading on a platform that had 3 tokens on it. It's now one of the larger ones. It had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. There was this new token that came out called Ripple, and it was going to be implemented with all the banks. And I was a banker at the time. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. I want to buy some. But you could only buy it with another crypto. So it's called a swap. So I'm going to swap out my Bitcoin for XRP, which is Ripple. But the only other platform that did it was one that was a decentralized. So which means, let me go back to decentralized and centralized for a minute in the crypto world. A decentralized exchange does not have the ability to off-ramp cash. So when you sell your crypto and get cash, you can't do that on a decentralized exchange. I'm going away from DeFi, but to like a DEX is what's called, a decentralized exchange. All that means that when you hear a decentralized exchange is they do not have cash. It's all crypto.
Right.
A centralized exchange means that you have the ability to off and on-ramp cash.
Okay.
And that centralized exchange, just like a bank, if something happens to them, they say they declare bankruptcy or they get all their assets get frozen, the assets that you have in that centralized exchange are frozen as well. So let's just to kind of verify those two differences. So the decentralized exchanges are really hard too. So I sent my money back to this Ripple story to this decentralized exchange, and I shouldn't say money. I sent my Bitcoin, and it was $8,000. This is back in 2015. It was a ton of money for us. We had a bunch of young kids and
ton of money for anyone.
Yeah. I was like, okay, here we go. I'm going for it. So I hit send from this centralized platform to a decentralized, and for the first hour I'm hitting refresh on that decentralized exchange, and there is nothing happening, and you can't see anything.
Right.
So, and I didn't know you could go check out some other, you got Etherscan and some other the networks so you can see what's happening to your money if it's confirmed or pending. I didn't know that. So the second hour, hitting refresh, nothing's happening. I'm like, I'm starting to make up a story to go tell my wife that, all right, hey, our $8,000 is gone. I sent it to outer space. It might not come back. So luckily in the third hour, before I had to go tell her my fake story, it showed up and I was able to swap out my Bitcoin for the Ripple. Well, that was a scary experience for me. So with Switch, you asked, well, what are we trying to do to bring together, the decentralized finance and the traditional finance or centralized finance together? Well, we want to make it so if someone comes into the crypto world, or even someone that's been in it for a long time, it's more transparent than the other platforms have been.
Right.
We want to say, all right, here's what's happening with your funds. It'll take 45 minutes or maybe it'll take 24 hours. But you as a customer of Switches will know this is what's happening with my money. Okay, I'm going to buy Bitcoin. It tells you. And I'll talk about some of the advantages in our other videos, but that's what we want to do as Switch is make that easier for even the OGs in crypto and the beginners.
Awesome. And we will talk a lot more about the Switch reward card in the next video. To summarize kind of what we've talked about in this course, we've talked about traditional finance, we've talked about DeFi, and then the problems with DeFi that Switch is looking to solve. My last question for you, Brad, is as our Connect affiliates are out there talking to people, we just went through a lot of information. What's the simplest way to explain to a friend or a family member why Switch is something that they should join as far as it being a community member?
Yeah, I think there's actually two things. Number one, hey, ask them, hey, are you interested in crypto? And usually people say yes. But why haven't you? Well, I don't know. I don't understand it. It's way over my head.
Why haven't you
done anything about it? I don't understand it. So if I don't understand something, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Well, Switch wants to kind of address that. Number one, by saying, here's what we are. We are a debit card program. And when I say Switch reward card, and we are a on and off ramp platform where what that means is you can take from your external bank and you can deposit cash into their platform that then you can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum
into
Switch's platform and buy it. So yeah, if you want to buy some, hey, go to switchrewardcard.com, sign up for the trade platform, connect your external bank and send some cash there and just easily buy some digital assets. And when I say digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever token you want to buy, you can. That's a simple way. Well, now, do you want to be able to earn instead of buying digital assets? And this is forward looking. We have not turned on what's called proof of actions for our crypto debit card. So this is not working right now. The trade platform is in closed beta, which means you have to be invited to use it, and we're still working out some bugs. The card is in alpha, meaning only internally can people use it. Like I loaded my card, my debit card. But in the future, we're going to be able to go swipe your card. First of all, you'll load it. It's a prepaid debit card, which means you have to load it before you use it. Load it with cash. Go swipe your card. And certain actions that you take with the card using it to spend will help you earn points that are then calculated with an algorithm and be able to say, all right, this is how many Switch rewards you received from the Switch blockchain that day. And once again, we are separated from them. The Switch blockchain is ran by the DGF.
Awesome. And we will get into a lot more about the card, the trading platform in our next course. But Brad, that was a great overview of kind of the history, the problem, the solution. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next course.
So yeah.